Caribbean Telegraph. We're here in Montego Bay at the intersection of Union and Harbour Streets, and we are here with the management team from the Jamaica Public Service Company, and they're about to tell us what's going on today. There are work crews all around the city trying to re-energize the electricity in the city here as a result of what had happened during Hurricane Melissa just past 3 weeks ago. We'd just like to go with the Tumbe Fuller. If I got that correct, please go ahead and give us an update.
I'm Tumbe Fuller, Manager of Business Continuity, JPS. Today we wanted to take a strategic approach in re-energizing the city of Montego Bay. And so what we have done, we've brought in crews from other parts of the island, as well as we're working with our overseas partners who are coming to help us. And so we are addressing the damage that has affected the entire city. So the strategy really for today is to energize the town center of Montego Bay so that we can resume economic activities in this part of the island. We have brought in resources, as we've said, from various parts, and we have had a number of broken poles, damaged transformers, damaged equipment on a whole, and teams have been assigned strategically to ensure that at the end of the day we're able to energize the entire town.
So definitely on what my name is Lance Beck. I'm the COO of JPS, and first of all, I want to thank the folks of the area because we know that it takes a lot of coordination, a lot of frustration to close down this very vital part of the city, of the town center, just to make sure that we're able to get our work done. As we know, this is a very bustling area, and any kind of assistance to make sure the crews that you see behind me to get this work done is very much appreciated and very, very important. Again, teams from all over. We have folks from Trinidad and Tobago. We have folks from KSA. We have folks from just everywhere just coming to make sure that we get this done. The one thing I definitely want to talk about is the fact that how this is important because, again, as you get the center open, you start breathing life back into the area. And we know how important this is. That's why we're all out here today, making sure we get this done in a timely fashion.
Can you tell us from around what time today you've been here and up to about what time you're likely to be here until for the rest of the afternoon or the evening?
So I would tell you that we started crews as early as 5 a.m. this morning, and we're going to probably look to work about 11 p.m. Again, the goal is to get this on, but we have to do it safely because once it gets dark, it's hard for the crew to see what they're working on. So again, we have a stretch goal. I think we're going to meet it, but we want to make sure that we put safety first. I don't want to put anybody's life at risk by trying to get an hour or two in just to get the lights on, but I would say that this team is motivated to get this done today.
How will they be able to carry on the work? It will be dark very shortly from now. How will they be able to do all of that?
So a lot of the trucks have some lighting on the back of it. They have lights on their hard hats. That's stuff that you can see right in front of them to make sure they can carry out certain tasks. Also, too, since we did extensive damage assessment, we have a good idea what's going on around us. But the one thing is that we want to make sure as we start energizing, if we miss something, we don't want to put somebody at harm.
What about the streets? Basically, most, if not all, of downtown Montego Bay, the streets are all blocked off to have this work done effectively and efficiently at the end of the day. Around what time are we likely to see the streets reopen?
So I would say that I would say we would carry out to at least 11 p.m. again. We don't want to leave here and have any kind of live or energized conductors on the road. So we're going to go do a drive-through, make sure everything is safe for everyone, right? Because again, safety doesn't just stop at JPS. We're talking about safety for the public also in general. So to make sure that we get it right, we'll be out here and we will block the streets until we and we'll open it up sporadically as we finish our assessment on the particular areas.
All right, just walk us through this a little further as we were talking earlier to Tommy. From as far as Barnett Street, Westgate coming in last night, I noticed there were lights all around to halfway along Barnett Street. Now you were just telling me that with what's happening here right now on the ground, it is the objective is to re-energize all of the downtown belt, meeting back to the middle or the center of Barnett Street. That's correct?
That's correct. So that area that you mentioned, as I was explaining to you, their supply comes from another source. And so what will happen tonight when we re-energize, the lines coming in from the Hip Strip or Godfrey Dyer Boulevard, as it is called, Jimmy Cliff Boulevard, that line coming in will be energized, and so we will have the rest of the town to the borders of Cornwall College, Montego Bay High School, all of those areas that will now be energized. William Street, a section of King Street, and the rest of the town will be energized when we do those line section on tonight.
So we're looking for the business people in particular.
Yes.
By tomorrow Monday, November 17th, they should be able to go back to work as normal because electricity should be back in their business places. Is that what we're looking at?
That is correct. As I said, the main objective is to bring back economic life to the town center.
The only one thing I would add to that is that the people who are able to receive, because there's some damages on the customer side at the pot heads, that's probably going to require an electrician, and we've probably communicated to some of the folks that will have to reach out to an electrician, but for the most part, we'll look about getting all those folks back on in power tonight before we leave.
Okay, and one other thing, Jimmy Cliff Boulevard, you mentioned to me earlier that that section has already been lit.
Yes.
How far back do we go? Is that all the way back to Rose Hall, the elegant corridor? Can you tell?
Oh no,
Not as yet.
so it's from Queens, just beyond the roundabout coming in.
Yes.
All the way up to Aquasol, that has already been energized. But on the note of safety, and I should have spoken to it, just remind persons, especially because there was flooding in some sections of the town, to remind persons to ensure that they have their premises checked and recertified before they try to get their supply reconnected.
Very
For
important.
safety.
Very
For
important.
safety, very important.
Very important. What about your work crew? About how many people do you have? How many trucks? What are the different types of units that we're seeing here? Can you explain that to us, please?
So in St. James right now, we have over 200 persons on the ground working. Here in the town center today, we have just about 79 persons on the ground in the town center working to restore supply. To include a number of bucket trucks, can be specific right now, but we have a number of bucket trucks, crane trucks, a lot of large equipment, small equipment, just all that is necessary based on our assessment of the damage and what would be required to restore supply.
My final question to you is to share the concerns, of course, you're hearing them from people all across Jamaica, well, in particular, the Western Belt here. But what about the communities? What can you say to them who are all anxious to get electricity flowing again in their homes?
So, restoration after a disaster such as the one we've just experienced in Jamaica, it's a process. Of course, just a reminder of the protocol when it comes to restoration. We start with the physical procedures. The water comes because, of course, we don't want to have any disease outbreaks, so the water comes out. We've been working on that. The hospitals, we brought in the airport because, of course, we know we need to need the supplies as well as the persons, visitors who need to get home. Then we look at also some of the communication that are critical. The police stations, the fire stations, all of those critical customers we need to get them back on. So that is our first focus. Then we move next to the large groups of customers, large customer sections that we can bring back on easily. And then we start moving down to the more granular level of individual customers. So it's a process and a protocol that we follow for order and safety. And so it will take us a while given the extent of the damage. Most persons will be seeing it in their communities, the number of poles that are down. In a sense, we're literally rebuilding a network. We're literally rebuilding a distribution network. And so it will take us some time, but the team is committed from the high highest levels of our organization, as you can see, there is commitment to the Western customers of Jamaica. We are adding some of our team members. A lot of our team members you see out here today, they do not have homes like home. They've lost their roofs, they've lost their entire homes, but they come out every day and they give 100%, sometimes more. Our operations, while you may not see us on the street 24 hours, I can tell you there are a large section of our operations that is 24 hours, because it takes all of that to get this happening. And so we just want to reiterate our commitment to our customers that we are working assiduously to restore power as swiftly as possible.
So that means there's no time frame that has been set specifically. You're working assiduously until everything has come to fruition once again. Is there anything else you'd like to add for the West, for the other parishes? Is there anything else?
So the thing is, I just want to assure everyone is that while we're spread out across the island, we're making sure that we're moving crews to the heavy hit areas. The thing is also to keep in mind that some areas it's going to be a total rebuild. It's going to take a while, and what we want to make sure that you understand is that we're out here, like was mentioned before. Tony said it is that we have a lot of our employees that's been impacted also too, and they've been here 24/7 because again, we're committed, we're driven by this. There's a lot of passion, and I must tell you that I was saying to somebody earlier on because I've worked storms in many areas. I've done storms in Puerto Rico, all over various areas of the United States and Canada, and I must say that this is probably one of the top 3 that I've ever seen as far as damage is concerned. But just to let you know how committed and talented this team is, I was in Puerto Rico for many months, and it took us with like 2,500 individuals on the ground, almost 11 months to get done. And I've got to tell you, this team, to be where more than 65% of the island restored at this stage of the game, I think is a tremendous job. And it just goes to show about when you empower people to think outside the box, to engage people, to bring them their authentic self and their mindset and their skills, what we can get done as a company, and I'm going to say most important, as a country. So really, really appreciate that.
What's the hardest hit parishes you've seen so far?
So I've been to everyone yet, but the feedback from Saint Elizabeth and Miami, I've heard people that's been in those areas, it brings tears to their eyes. So, again, and we feel for everyone, it's hard. It is hard, and that's why we're committed to working around the clock to get folks back, and we do realize that these times are very challenging, but we're out here to make sure that we're working hard and making sure we serve you the best way possible we can.
And just to add that, we're not just focused on restoring the power. We do have our foundation that has been working to bring humanitarian aid to our communities, to our customers that have suffered loss. We had programs internally to support our employees, but now we have started to reach out to communities as well to bring humanitarian aid to them through our JPS Foundation.
Can I just add one more thing? So one thing I want to add to that is that as we've seen, right, we had Beryl last year, we have Melissa this year. These events are becoming more and more frequent. So while it might take a little bit longer, we're actually looking about building some resiliency into what we're doing. We don't want to just put back the same system. We're trying to make it harder so that when we do have these events, and it will happen again, that we can be sustainable and make sure we get through this, in a better fashion.
Great. Thank you so very much. Thank you, the trumpet. Thank you, lads.
Thank you so much.
Much appreciated.
All right.